come up, state your name and your address. Tell us what's on your mind.
All right.
Bring your mic down a little bit, please. Thank you.
My name is Melinda Barnard. I live at 7 East Presque Isle Road. So 4 years ago, I was provided with a job opportunity that would allow me to return to Caribou after living away for a decade. I received that offer the day after I delivered my youngest daughter. I was still in the hospital at that time. While I was excited about the opportunity, I had one big hurdle ahead of me: securing childcare for an infant within the next 8 weeks. I immediately set to work and began calling the very short list of licensed providers who would take infants. The list quickly grew shorter as I was told that there were no openings available and wait lists were up to a year long. I was fortunate to be able to find a single opening at a facility in Caribou. At this time last week, I was sitting in a room full of parents and received the news that the facility that has been a key part in my daughter's growth and development into an incredibly smart, caring, and joyful little human would be closing. I looked around the room as people absorbed the news, several with tears and fear in their eyes because of the impact that this could potentially have on their ability to provide for their family. I will say that I was one of the luckier ones in the room. Nora starts pre-K at Caribou Community School this week, and my dad is retired and is willing to get her off the bus. That, along with my husband's job that is primarily remote at this time, we can make it work for the time being, though we are certainly heartbroken by this loss for our family. When I returned to the area, I knew I wanted to play an active role in the community, making contributions that would help Caribou be a place that my children want to stay and return to. This was one of my big motivations for sitting as a member of the Riverfront Redevelopment Committee, a position that I am thrilled and honored to hold. I see economic and community development as a key piece to reversing the out-migration trend we have seen since the closure of the base. Having adequate and affordable childcare is a critical aspect of having a quality workforce that supports economic growth. Had I not been able to find childcare 4 years ago, I certainly wouldn't be standing here today. Caribou's mission statement states that the City of Caribou, where residents, service organizations, businesses, schools, and local government are actively committed to, and one of the points is promoting a community where you can grow your family, your business, and yourself. In the Council's 2022 priorities and goals reviewed at your meeting on January 3rd of this year, affordable childcare barriers was ranked 9th on the priority list in the economic development category. Only 2 of the councilors that were sitting at the time ranked it within their top 5 priorities.
Oh, sorry. Got a poltergeist? No, it's just I had the microphone on.
We good now? Okay.
Should we go now?
Repeat that last couple sentences, please.
Sure. So in the Council's 2022 priorities and goals reviewed at your meeting on January 3rd of this year, affordable childcare barriers was ranked 9th on the priority list in the economic development category. Only 2 of the councilors that were sitting at the time ranked it within their top 5 priorities. So today, I'm asking that if you are sitting in those seats in January, when you are setting your priorities and reviewing the budget for the next year, please do some research into municipally supported child care programs and think about the far-reaching positive impact that it could have here. I believe you would see a valuable return on investment in recruitment and retention of workforce and businesses who feel that there are supports in place that will help them be successful. Many of the solutions that I have heard in the last week are reactive band-aids that don't fix a larger problem and are not sustainable. It takes a village to raise a child, and I hope that this village will take this as a wake-up call to develop a plan and proactive solution that will support working families into the future. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you please give a copy of that to our clerk?
Sure.
So she can put it into the minutes?
It's a little because I threw that in, that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, please. State your name and address.
Jim Seaman on Smith Street in Caribou. I thank you all for your service to the community to start out with, and I'll follow the theme of our children. We are a child-friendly community, and we say we care about kids, and I'd like to touch on that. I walk in the evening. For the last 15 or 16 years, I like to walk and pick up litter in the downtown area. That's kind of my little contribution. And that has involved fairly regularly taking trips into the library parking lot, and at times when I seen litter in the back garden area, going back there to pick it up. And what I'd like to address you about is what's happening at the library And Penny and I have talked about it recently. I just don't think that it should all be her shoulders alone to solve this problem. And I think it's a serious problem, or I wouldn't be talking to you here. We, as a community that cares about kids, have certain places that are very important for our children, and I know that the library is one of them. It's a special treasure place for our community and our kids, and it has been for over a century. I don't know if the council's aware, but what's happening right now is that facility is being destroyed. And I didn't say it's destroyed, I said it's being destroyed. There's something new happening behind that building, and it is new. I've not seen it in the last 15 or 16 years. We've had some citizens or transients decide to take up semi-permanent residence back there. And I was shocked. A few weeks ago when I went back there, I'd had some knee surgery and hadn't been back there for a little while, so I went back and found out that there's been a serious problem developed back there. And I certainly wouldn't want any children going back there right now. It's not fit for any child to be back there with the nature of the graffiti that's sprayed all over the building, the walkways, and the garbage cans. And I think we as a community need to do better and treat this as a priority, because my experience in researching these kind of issues over the years is that if they're not nipped in the bud, and that means on the day that something like this happens, that it's cleaned up and fixed the next day, then the more antisocial elements tend to view it as free game, and the problem just mushrooms. So I think we're on the cusp of that problem mushrooming right now. There are a lot of people back there, it looks like, and they are intent on doing whatever damage they can and really ruining that facility. And so I'm not sure where it stands on the priority list of the library director. It should be high on the list, I think. I'm not seeing that in the kind of the monthly reports you get from him. I'm not seeing that. And so in talking with the staff there, my information is very limited, but it turns out, from what I've heard, is that there are cameras that go into the police station. And so some steps have been taken, it seems like, to have addressed the problem, but obviously a lot more needs to be taken and done now, done immediately, to nip this in the bud before it spirals out of control. And I have to think that with all the creativity and the good people and the good heads we have that can address this, it can be solved pretty quickly. I think it should be a priority for Public Works. It should be a priority for the police, the library, everybody who's associated with or representing Caribou should be a priority for them, I think. And it could be dealt with real quickly. I mean, I have offered, if there's a need for someone to stop by there and do some scrubbing on a regular basis, give me the supplies and I'll be happy to do it. I don't think that's a 100% solution, but I have to be honest, one of the thoughts that I just can't keep having is that we're about to, apparently it seems like, we'll have a good fortune for a new $10 million police station in Caribou. And yet we have one of our prized gem possessions literally across the street from our current facility, and that's not being protected or defended at all. And I just think something's very wrong in this story, in that's what's happening. And I don't know that a new station changes that or not. I think it becoming a priority and people being arrested and there being some real swift treatment for the offenders is what needs to happen here, in my opinion. And I appreciate some folks who are dispossessed and have difficulty in life. I get that at all, but I have zero tolerance for somebody going over into the back of that building and destroying it for the rest of us and our children. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Penny, is there a camera system that's...
They do have cameras there, but I would say this, I just found this out today, and so on Friday we had someone go take a look at the graffiti because it is the kind of thing that you can't just get off with normal means, and so Dave from Public Works is the one that met with the person today to find out if he can do the work, and he can, and he's ordered the stuff, and it's supposed to be in the 1st of next week. So I think the graffiti issue will at least be cleaned up next week.
But what about the other issues there? Are we able to see that?
That's really, I think the police would have to answer that. Because I'm not sure, as far as I know. I mean, Peter can probably speak to that if they have access to.
Come on up, Peter.
The streaming. I don't know.
So the police do not have access to the streaming. The way that the camera system kind of works and how it was all installed, in order to make it available to the police, it has to be available to the public, and we don't want that. We were recommended by the police as well as Bob to not have that done. We have it on our own closed loop, and it saves the footage for about a month and a half. We do need to get another outdoor camera for one of the back areas. One of our cameras faces outside specifically all the time, but it's facing the gazebo. We've tried cleaning the graffiti on the back, and we were able to power wash a lot of it off, but not the spray paint. We've been restaining the gazebo to cover up the graffiti that's been on there, and so now we have a lot more stain to continue to fix that problem. But in regards to cameras, I can only see so much back there.
Right.
And it's still a matter of, they're not really motion activated. They're just 24/7. They don't alert somebody when there's motion. We could maybe get a specific camera for that one closed off back area that is motion sensitive. But that'd be something that I'd have to work with Bob on and find some money for.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up in public forum?
Mark.
Mark, yeah, go ahead, please. Good response.
Well, we're not even broadcasting, are we?
No, they got it fixed.
Oh, they got it fixed? Okay. Welcome. Hey, I find it hard to believe that graffiti's being sprayed on any building. I really do. I don't know. In my world, it's unacceptable. I don't know what more I can say. Are there people living back there?
Not to my knowledge. We have seen like a discarded shirt and like somebody left a bag of clothes in there the other morning, and then I came out to take a look at it half an hour later and it was gone inside the gazebo. I have no comings and goings of people all the time, but to my knowledge, there's no one like camped up back there.
Just want to say, you fill out your priority list at the beginning of the year, and if I had known that there was graffiti being sprayed on our public buildings, I think that would be number one. Make it go away. And, I don't know. The world's gotten kind of crazy. In my world, I just don't understand how this stuff happens and is allowed to get away with. And that's all I got to say. It's just unbelievable. So, that's it. I apologize for ranting. It's just getting mad won't solve anything. All I can do is show my disgust for how this kind of thing can happen. I got to tell you something. I was in a store the other day and I bought a pair of sneakers. There was another guy right there trying on 2 pairs of sneakers, and I think, who has 2 pairs of sneakers? He picked up those 2 pairs of sneakers and walked right out the door and didn't pay a dime. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell are we going to keep stores around this town if people are allowed to just get away with this stuff? And this is it, graffiti on a building, on the library. And it almost seems like we're willing to accept it as a consequence of today's world. And I'm here to tell people, no, not in my world, but that's all I can say. Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's fine. We do have someone coming we've tried other means. Now we have to have something called elephant juice. I don't know what it really is called.
Please
But
don't talk
that's
anymore.
Okay.
It just needs
I hope you're able to
elephant
report
juice?
us.
This is where we're going with elephant juice? No.
That's what the contractor calls it. They use to take off the spray.
Okay.
But I'll quit talking.
I get that. I'm just saying, where's the consequences?
I hope, were you able to report the sneaker theft?
My wife and I had a big discussion on that. And when you listen to the news and you look at these big retail stores that don't allow people to say anything or do anything for fear of liability and issues like that, no, I did not report it. Because in today's world, it almost seems like you don't get involved for fear of lawsuits and stuff like that. We sit here on this council, there's a lot of things we'd like to do, but don't tell. Every one of us in our minds will always say, can we get sued on this one? Whether it's right or wrong, we always have that in our opinion. Can we get sued? And sometimes, it's just amazing to me. We're trying to struggle, we're trying to use money in the best efficient way possible, and we have this kind of vandalism going on. I'm sorry, thank you.
Did you have something you want to put in on this subject?
Well, being the council representative on the library board, I know that Peter has been very diligent, and he picked it up right away. In fact, he got partial identification on some of the kids who did it, and there have been, they have been followed through, and I think that the kids were young and didn't want to do a whole court thing, but talked to parents, and all of this, has been progressive. So, as far as new stuff, it isn't new, it's been ongoing? Or it's still what we had discussed last?
Yeah, we've only
Okay.
had 2 incidents,
Oh,
and
okay.
both of them were in reports that I sent off to the
Oh,
city
okay.
council are either in Good to Knows or in my monthly report. I can't remember which one.
Okay.
And make sure you understand, Peter, my comments are not directed at your position as the library director. It's the consequences of the people that actually do this, once again, don't seem to match my standard of how it should go. I was blessed with a father that would let me take my toe and step it over the line of acceptability many times. And every time I stepped my foot over there, I found out. And I look back, none of it. I deserved every bit of it. We've lost that today, in my opinion. That's all. Thanks. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing. I want to make sure. I did not mean it that way.
So, we'll close the public forum. And 5A and 5B, we have the regular city
Thank
council
you.
meeting. Thank you, folks. Regular city council meeting, June 26th. Let's have a special council meeting minutes, August 14th. August
Oh, you're right.
14th meeting, these are on the pages 2 through 7, 8 through 11. Has everybody in the council had an opportunity to review these, any errors or omissions? Please move this one. Move the slate. Motion.
I make a motion that we move the slate on the minutes from June 26th and August 14th.
Second. Third.
Do we have discussion on this? Bagley.
Aye.
Boma.
Aye.
Terrell.
Aye.
Willie.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider Mark absent on that vote, I guess, is how we'll handle that. 6A, we have the bid openings, boards, appointments.
Appointments, okay.
Yeah, bid openings, awards, and appointments. 6A, we have an appointment to the Nylander Board of Directors, and that on
Page 12 and
13. And we have a recommendation in here from our library director. What are the wishes of the council?
We make a motion that we appoint Robert Carlson for a 1-year term on the Nylander Board of Directors.
I second that.
Hold on, term ending December 31st, 2023.
Term ending December 31st, 2023.
Second?
Second, we have a motion on the table. Discussion. Bagley.
Aye.
Boma.
Aye.
Gone.
Aye.
Terrell.
Aye.
Willie.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now, 6B, we have the award contract for the QEP for the Brownfields project at the Caribou Diesel Electric Plant, and that is on pages 16 to 29 in our council packet. And Penny, can you brief us a little bit on our previous meeting? You don't have to say, or I can read this if you like.
So as part of our EPA Brownfields grant project at the Caribou Diesel Electric Power Plant and Outbuildings Cleanup Project, the City of Caribou needs to contract with a qualified environmental professional. And I have a link in here to the proposal and the cleanup work plan. The only proposal received was from County Environmental Engineering, Inc. The Selection Review Committee met on Tuesday, August 22nd, and interviewed Michelle Hersey of County Environmental Engineering and voted unanimously to recommend County Environmental Engineering to do this work. The project funding should be available after October 1st. I actually got an email from EPA today. Everything's on schedule. The RFP was based on one that was provided by the EPA. Staff will also work with EPA to bring contracts back to the City Council for final review. But this is all included in the $900,000 Brownfields project grant.
That's what was going to happen on there,
It's all included in that. It's just, this is the first step because this is the person that's going to help with all the other steps.
Correct.
Make a motion that we retain county environmental, if I can say the word, engineering as the qualified environmental professional for the Caribou Diesel Electric Power Plant and Outbuildings Brownfields Cleanup Project for an amount not to exceed $82,000.
Second?
Motion is second. Do we have discussion from council on this? Bagley?
Aye.
Boma?
Aye.
Gone?
Aye.
Terry?
I'll abstain due to a family relationship.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 8A, we have reports by staff and committees. We have an update about taxpayer feedback on market adjustments, and this is on page 30 to 32 in our packet. And,
So Joe was here on the phones, on the Zoom. So Joe, are you there? Can you hear us?
I am here, and I can hear you very well. Can you hear me very well?
Yes, we
Yes.
certainly
You
can.
can.
yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Bill.
Okay, excellent. Just have a quick minute to talk about, since property tax bills have hit the streets, there has been some kickback, feedback. I have spoken with right around 15 people so far. A lot of them just had questions on why the values were increased. I've only got just a couple that seem concerned that their valuation is too high. I will be in Caribou on the 11th and the 12th to meet with those taxpayers. I would say my biggest takeaway thus far has been that many of the taxpayers feel like there was a lack of advance notice. Several of them have expressed that they wish that they knew that there were adjustments that were going to be made. And the other piece to it, naturally, is that folks' taxes went up this year, and there are a lot of people that are very concerned about the budget. And I explained to the best of my ability, the budget is made up, there are several components, and I did know that the school portion had an increase this year, and I do know that the county budget allocation for the city of Caribou also increased. But that's really the majority of the feedback that I've been getting. I still have, I think, 8 more folks to contact back. I worked through as many as I could today, and I will continue to work through them until everyone has been contacted, and we'll handle each one as they come. But that's the majority of the feedback that I have been getting.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any questions from council for Joe? We also have on this, what was included in our packet, Penny has made some copies. Maybe Melissa would like one over there as well, with some frequently asked questions and answers. So feel free to take one of those.
I think this is a really good write-up. If I may ask the city manager a question
Yes.
or two. On the question, did the whole city of Caribou experience an increase in valuation? I took that to mean, did everybody's valuation go up? And I think the correct answer to that is no, that some valuations actually went down. Is my understanding and recollection correct on that?
Yep. I believe so. When you say that that's a fair statement, Joe?
No, everyone's valuations increased. There were different amounts of increase, but all of the land values were increased 15%, and the building values went up. Just that some did not go up as much as others.
Okay.
But I think sometimes taxes and valuation get confused. With the drop in the mill rate, there may have been some folks whose actual taxes went down, but the valuations, short of demolishing buildings on the property, the valuations should have all gone up.
Okay, thank you. I'll recheck that. I just recall that some valuations actually went down.
I would assume some of that could be due to homestead exemption and some of those other things that our community utilizes, so that's probably where we might see some of
And that gets
that.
taken off after the valuation and the application of the rate.
But that's where the
exemption.
taxes might differ, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
I'm talking about valuation. So the initial part of this, the initial step of all this was the adjustment on the valuation, and I thought some of them were adjusted down. I may be wrong. And the second question was on the appeal options. This gives me the impression that citizens can give Joe a call and appeal the assessment and get it taken care of. Joe does not have the authority to make adjustments to the assessment, isn't that right?
Correct. It would need to go to the Board of Assessors, but Joe can talk them through
Okay.
the evaluation.
And that's
They
an
have-
abatement process. That's,
Right.
we're
Usually-
now in an abatement process. Okay,
I guess we say step one is to have like an informal conversation.
Yeah.
I guess. And if I don't have that properly stated on there, I can,
well, it just implies to me that you can call Joe and have this taken care of, and
okay, so.
Call John if it's...
Well, no,
Well, I think it says right under that there's additional abatement
Additional,
information
yeah.
available,
Abatement,
so I think
yeah.
it makes it clear that that's just kind of a preliminary step.
Because, so what will, and Joe, you can step in here if I'm improperly stating this, but they'll call Joe if they feel, because this wasn't a house-to-house revaluation. So
Right.
there are some properties that could have fallen into a state of disrepair in the last 10 years.
Right.
So if they have a conversation with Joe, they feel that's the case, he's coming here September 11th and 12th. So he can visit them on a case-to-case basis and adjust things, but it still has to go to the Board of Assessors. That's the next step. So I can
Normally, what I do is I will meet with them and I'll make a recommendation for an abatement to the Board of Assessors, and they have the authority to ultimately grant that abatement or not.
Perfect, thank you.
Is that all you have, Dan, for questions on that?
Yeah, I just pointed out, as I read through this, that jumped out at me, and I thought I might mention it. You might want to think about rewording it
Yeah.
or whatever, but whatever you think is best.
Thank you. Okay. 8B is election memo for the November 7th, 2023 election. I'll read this. The clerk's office is preparing for the November 7th, 2023 municipal and referendum election and is requesting council approval for the following. Number 1, approval of an 8 a.m. opening time for November 7th, 2023 election. Number 2, appointment of Danielle Brissette as election warden, Sherry Garman and Christina Drinkle as deputy wardens for the November 7th, 2023 election. What are the wishes of the council?
I make a motion that we move the start time to 8 a.m. and to appoint Danielle Brissette as election warden, Sherry Garman and Christina Drinkle as deputy wardens for the November 7th, 2023 election.
Second?
Because she needs to make
You had a second, was that a second?
That was me.
Okay. Discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Bowman?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Terrell?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And now we have 8C, we have our July 2023 financials, and we have our finance director, Carl, here to walk us through this, and I believe we start on page 34. Thank you, Carl.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, and Manager. So yeah, we're on page 34, July financial statements for 2023. Assets on hand, $8,147,785.59. Cash on hand, $3,525,168.65. 2023 tax receivables towards the bottom of the page. We collected $51,054.02 in prepayments for the month of July, bringing our total to $371,038.68. And that is 2.8% less than we collected last year at the same time, about $10,000. Moving on to the next page. The liabilities at the bottom, we're at $5,599,501.14. Moving over to page 38. At the bottom, the fund balance ending July 31st was $2,548,284.45. Moving over to page 41, our expenses for the month. In the current month net, we totaled $640,826.53, bringing our total expenses year-to-date at $5,361,023.41, and that is 45% of our budget. We're about 13% under budget through July. Moving over to revenues on page 46. Our revenues for the month of July were $930,009.10. Year-to-date, $891,458.29. We're at 37% of our overall revenue budget, which is about 21% under budget. And again, once commitments hits the books in August, that number will jump significantly. Side notes, our excise tax for the month was at $151,332.69. Year-to-date, we're up about $56,000 compared to last year at the same time, and we are 5.7% above our budgeted figure for the year through July. Revenue sharing for the month of July was at $202,499.74. Our year-to-date number is at $1,214,962.16, and that's about 4% above our budgeted total through the month of July, or about $77,500. That's all I have, unless someone else has any questions.
I have a statement, if I may. You know, what would be really helpful to me, you know, if we can put this together, is some kind of graphical representation of some of this information.
Okay.
So I'd like you to think about that, how you might do that, because table after table of numbers is sometimes dizzying, and you really can't get to problems that way. But a graph is easy to read, and you can see at a glance how we're doing against the spend plan, how we're doing on our budgets on a month-to-month basis. Have you ever produced anything like that in the past?
Yeah.
That you can draw upon? And
Yep. I can look into that for you.
Okay. Well, work with Penny.
Yep.
See if you can come up with something. I would appreciate that.
Any other questions for Carl?
Nice report.
Thank you.
I got it.
Highlights are good, right?
Highlights are good.
Yeah, I like the highlights.
Easy to follow. So
I'd be lost without the highlights.
Chair will entertain a motion to accept the financials.
So moved?
Second.
Move to second to accept the July 23rd financials as presented. Discussion. Bagley.
Aye.
Bowman.
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Terrell?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
Next, we have AD, the manager's report. One request on this, I'd like, if people have questions for Penny, could you please hold them till the end, after she's done her manager's report? Let her go through it, and then we'll go back and questions at the end. So, be appreciated. Thank you, Penny. Go ahead.
So the Brownfields Conference was August 7th through 11th in Detroit. The broadband initiative, there is a final draft contract in the hands of Charter Spectrum, and they are due to the Maine Connectivity Authority at the end of September. For events and marketing, Parks and Rec are working on the annual craft fair, and they have a full house already planned for that. Land Bank, Councilor Bagley has been looking into land bank ideas and presented to the Caribou Economic Growth Council at their last meeting. Riverfront Master Plan. The City of Caribou was awarded a grant that will include a Riverfront Master Plan. Facade Improvement Program, the fall application period is open. Applications are due September 29th. For the Caribou Economic Growth Council, we met on August 24th, and there'll be a special meeting tomorrow. Business outreach, there have been many inquiries about the Facade Improvement Grant Program, which is now open. Police Station, Artifacts received some helpful information from Dale Blackstone and the Caribou Utilities District. The comp plan update, the economy work session will be held Thursday, August 31st at the Wellness Center, and all are invited. 15 Prospect Street, this is in the court system. Our health officer and our attorney and an engineer are going to visit the property on Wednesday. The Water Street Fire, the Caribou Economic Growth Council received a letter requesting a discharge of the amount owed by the owners of 7 Water Street. Age Friendly, there was a meeting on August 22nd. The Department of Transportation Village Partnership, there will be an RFP coming out soon for that. Heuristic Waste Solutions, construction of cells 5 and 6 are underway. Care Medical Center, they're planning their 100th anniversary in 2024. If you have any old photos, memorabilia, or stories, please reach out to Bill Flagg. Administrative approvals, liquor license renewal for Caribou Maine, Northern Maine Brewing, an extension of premises for Evergreen Lane. It's an extension of their extension of premises. Other updates, lack of available childcare in Caribou is a workforce and economic development issue, as we were reminded this evening in public input.
Questions for Penny on the manager's report? I got just a couple of things. The events and marketing, you're talking about the annual craft fair. Are we going to have one of those big sign banners downtown?
Oh, yeah, they'll
And all that, have the same,
Everything will be the
be
same.
the same, the radio coverage and all that stuff, okay? And then, it's one of my favorite things here, obviously, as I said before, the facade improvement program. So we're going to have the same as we've always done. The committee's going to meet.
Yep.
And we have, what do we have? What are we awarding? Potentially, can we award this year?
$10,000.
$10,000 on this. Okay.
10,000 total?
10,000 total. We have one in the spring and one in the fall.
Right.
Yep. And we did, okay, so that's good. So I'm excited to see that come,
Yeah.
and hopefully be
We've
there in
had a
October.
lot of interest. I've talked to a lot of people about it.
Well, that's really good, because the last time it was a little shy at the last,
Yeah.
that we carried some of that
Yeah,
over. So
so.
That's, those are my questions. Mark, do you have some questions?
Well, you have to be in the economic zone, right, to get those?
You have to be in a downtown TIF district.
Okay. Oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, somebody had an interest of building a couple of duplexes somewheres in Caribou with an option of one a year for the next 3 or 4 years. Do you recall an email going out like
Yep.
that?
Yeah.
Any news on that?
So that was going to be at Birdseye. If
Well,
that's
it
the same
doesn't matter
one.
where.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
And I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's where it goes, I'm just saying,
Right.
someone showed an interest in building some buildings.
Right.
Where are we on that?
We're looking at the environmental things on that right now.
Someone's in touch with this man.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Penny on the manager's report? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have 9A, we have new business ordinances and resolutions. Through 9A, we were requested by the Maine DOT for an overload permit project on Bridge C 53. In the packet, the Maine Department of Transportation is seeking a construction overload permit for project 018984.00 Bridge Street over Caribou Stream. Copy of the paperwork has been received by the city clerk, and it is in our packet. What are the wishes of council?
May I ask a question? What is the nature of the construction project? What are they doing on Bridge Street?
As far as I know, they're doing a street project. I don't,
Are they reconstructing the bridge or just repaving or?
I would assume it's repaving.
Caribou Stream Bridge rehabilitation.
There you go.
Rehabilitation.
Where's Bridge Street?
And my
Down by
sleepers?
Sleepers.
That little-
Oh, okay, yes, sorry.
Okay.
I thought it was further up near the pond.
I remember the last time one of these came up, I was a little confused because it talked about a project, it talked about a timeline, and then none of that is in here. And so what I remember back then, and I just want to make sure I still understand that this is kind of that hasn't been defined yet, the timelines and the routes and all that stuff. This is simply to let them know that we're going to be okay with the overload going over our streets. And they're going to define that for us later. Is that right?
I don't know that they ever get in touch with us with any more information than this. It's certainly not anything that I receive. It's just, we see them working on the project later.
Okay.
You know, like, that was on the Westgate Road, I think was the project, or the Sawyer Road, was what they had worked on before, and then before you know it, they're working on it, and that's that.
Okay.
They don't stay in touch with us about the projects.
It's curious that they don't put a timeline in here when it clearly says that we do this for on a timeline, or for a stated period of time.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a construction overlimit permit for the Maine Department of Transportation for the Bridge Street over Caribou Stream construction project number 018984.00.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Bagley?
Aye.
Boma?
Aye.
Vaughn? Aye. Terrell?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 9B, page 63. And we have a request to cancel the September 11, 2023 regular scheduled council meeting. The first meeting in September is scheduled for September 11th. Because of the Labor Day holiday, the Cary Medical Center Board of Directors meeting is also scheduled for September 11th. Cary Medical Center is a department of the city, a major employer in Caribou. According to the charter, the city manager is an ex officio member of the Cary Medical Board of Directors. For those reasons, our city manager feels it is important to attend those meetings. We also had this conflict earlier this year. The Cary Board moved the meeting. Additionally, Tuesday, September 12th is the Clerk's Networking Day in Augusta. Title 30-A, 2653 states, each municipality shall pay the reasonable expenses of its clerks and deputy clerk incurred in attending the annual meetings of the Maine Municipal Association and the Maine Town and City Clerks Association. The city clerks will leave on Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. I assume it's p.m., not a.m.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Throw a joke in there. To travel to Augusta for the meeting on Tuesday.
Excuse me.
This is also noticed that the city clerk's office will be closed from 1 p.m. Monday and all day Tuesday while they attend this training. So it has been suggested that we cancel the September 11th regular council meeting.
I make a motion that we cancel the September 11th, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Second.
Second discussion. I'm going to put under discussion that we voted on this because there was some consideration of, I had looked into canceling this meeting, and because we did not vote it on at the last meeting, we found out from MMA that...
Right, you can adopt a policy for canceling meetings. We just haven't really adopted a policy for canceling a meeting except for having the whole board vote on it, because at the beginning of the year, they have accepted the calendar.
We don't.
So that's why we have been doing it that way, but.
So that's why there's some emails going back and forth, so I'll just throw that in there, we don't have to talk about that tonight, but that was discussion. Any other discussion on this motion? Bagley?
Aye.
Boma?
Aye.
Gone?
No.
Terrio?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the findings, the facts orders, 24 Park Street, map 35, lot 73, that is on page 64. This is a follow-up item on the action taken by the city council at the July 24th city council meeting. 24 Park Street was affirmed to be a dangerous building. The findings orders are attached for review. And we have the findings and orders is on the next pages in our packet, 65 and 66. What is council's wishes?
I make a motion to approve and sign the findings and order to be delivered to the owner of 24 Park Street and will be recorded at the Southern Registry of Deeds in Holton.
I'll second that. Discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Roma?
Aye.
Gone.
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And we're getting down here to the end. So 10B is the final draft ordinance, 2023 series of charter amendment, ordinance to amend the capital improvement referendum process. And the Caribou City Council Charter Committee met and indicated they would like to put on the charter change, the next page, on the ballot on the November 2023 election. We have had a public hearing and a vote. The vote included change the language that was originally proposed. This require no action, but on the page 68 shows how this will be appear on the referendum. So no action required on that. We get down to the reports and discussion by mayor and council members. We'll start with Councilor Bagley.
No reports, thank you.
Courtney?
Nothing for me, thank you.
No?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Mark, do you have any?
No, I'm going to apologize for getting all wound up about that treaty. I just don't understand it, so
Okay.
my apologies.
It can be frustrating. And I don't have anything else to add myself. Our next meeting will be on September 25th.
Can I,
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
you know, this revaluation, this valuation thing that we had, partial valuation thing that we had, and everyone can have an opinion, and that's all right, and if someone's of an opposite opinion of mine, it does not make you an evil person, and I can only hope that people would look at me just because I have a difference of opinion. I'm not an evil person. I can't help how other people judge me. I have to control my own temper to judge other people, and I try my darndest not to judge people. So when you try to bring suggestions to the table, such as, can we take a building and renovate it and move administration, and we could take this building here and put it to a new police station and renovate it, and you only have to go look at Mount Desert Island and all those communities on that island, Bar Harbor, Southwest, Northeast Harbor. You go look at those places and they're using them old buildings, and you know what? Them buildings are almost a tourist attraction, and they're still functional buildings. I lost. I didn't get it to come to the table to discuss these possibilities. It's the way the system's done. I get it. I accepted it. But now you're telling me, and one of the arguments is, because this is an 82-year-old building, and I've never understood that. Because those buildings in Bar Harbor are more than 82. This is an historical building. It ought to be worked on. But, like I said, we lost. I lost. I didn't lose, I just didn't have the majority of votes to get it to go through. But now you're telling me, that's an 82-year-old building now? Now you're telling me that my 131-year-oold house is worth $12,000. I have to pay $12,000 more to live in a 31-year-old house. It has more value now. And yet a building that's 82 years has absolutely, it's no good. Can't use it, gotta build new. And I have a hard time reconciling in my mind, then why is my house worth more money at 130? Because I've invested in it. Because I put money into it. And don't tell me people don't come up here in tourism and like to drive around and look at old farmhouses, old barns. It's an attraction. This could have been done this way. I did not have the majority of votes. I get it, and I accept it, and I move on. But boy, I'll tell you, $1,200 more to live in that shack that you can throw a cat between the rock wall and that bottom wooden sill, all around that house. I don't get it. I can't put the two together. Why we can't do something here versus why you're charging me so much for over there. And the phone calls I have people have expressed, but it is. I got that off my chest. Today was, I told Gloria I didn't want to say a word tonight. And instead,
It's open mic
look
right
what
here.
happened. It was that graffiti thing that got me going. I'm sorry, but I just want to let you know, these are the things that are on my mind. 131-year-old house, and you're telling me it's worth more money. I can't make it work. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so that,
There's only 3 more months, guys. You'll be all set.
if that covers our open mic portion of it, I guess, so to speak. Which is fine, I like this. So, the next regular meetings is September 25th, 13, no executive session, fortunately, this evening.
Move that we adjourn.
Second?
Bagley,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Gahn,
Aye.
Terrio,
Aye.
Willie.
Aye.
I gotta vote aye then, huh? Motion carries.
You can say nay.
I could say nay.
I need signatures.
Need signatures from us?
Yeah.
And microphone's off here.
Oh, you got that, like, nailed down tonight.
Oh, that's right.
So long. I think on the ordinance, I think I have November 8th, so 7th. We were talking spit guard. Okay, so there's a few copies of each because the dangerous building stuff has to be filed elsewhere, so everything's on the signature pages, except for this last one. So you have an ordinance, you have a building, and you have a deer. Yeah. I probably have an email address for her because she's on our riverfront committee. Let me just look here. Just gonna slide your chair to the side so don't sit down.